I hope that we don't have to see another assassination attempt. I hope we don't have to have a justice actually killed before this body will take judicial security seriously. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. I want to talk about this letter that I think 11 Democrat senators signed, dated March 31st, 2023. It's to members of the Appropriations Committee. I'm just looking here at the signatories. It includes quite a number of members of this committee, as well as others. This is a very interesting letter to me, and I just want to look a little bit at some of the language and what these senators are asking for. They say that Congress ought to impose a code on the Supreme Court. They say Congress has broad authority to compel the Supreme Court to institute reforms. Compel. And then they go on and say Congress's appropriations power is one tool for achieving these changes. Compel. Now, we're going to compel the court. We're going to use the appropriations power. How to do it? Well, they're very specific. Congress should withhold appropriations. Withhold appropriations. And then they go on to say nothing stops Congress from treating the judiciary any differently than any other entity of government when faced with judicial recalcitrance. So here we have judicial recalcitrance. These darn judges won't do what we tell them to do, so we're going to compel them to do what we want, and we're going to use the appropriations power. All right, what appropriations? Well, they ask for $10 million to be withheld. That's an interesting number to me. $10 million. $10 million. Why $10 million? Well, let's have a look at the Supreme Court's 2024 budget request. What do we see? Well, we see $4 million of requests for security funding from the CHIPS Act. $4 million. Then we see an additional $6 million of more security funding that the court is asking for. This is their 2024 budget request. The Supreme Court is asking for $4 million in security funding from one source and another $6 million over and above. 4 plus 6 equals 10. $10 million of security funding that the court is specifically asking for this year in their budget request. And that just happens to be magically the exact same number that my Democrat colleagues want to deny the Supreme Court unless they stop their judicial recalcitrance and submit to the compulsion of this body. So in other words, the threat is we will deny you security unless you do what we want. Let me say it again. We will deny you security unless you do what we want. We had an assassin come to the home of Justice Kavanaugh and try to murder him. We have had credible threats on the lives of other justices. And now members of this body say, we will deny you security for you, your families, your children, unless you do what we want. Extraordinary. Extraordinary. Judge Mukasey, can I just ask you, longtime distinguished jurist, former attorney general of this country, do you think it's appropriate to threaten the security of justices of the United States and their families in order to get them to comply with the wishes of this body?
No.
Have you heard of something like this being done before?
I have not.
I haven't either. And I have to say, at a time when we have had 3 different credible assassination attempts or threats against justices, we still have people illegally going to the justices' homes to attempt to influence their decisions in cases. No one has been prosecuted for those violations. We have constant threats and danger to their children. We had radicals post publicly the school location of one of the justices' children. And in that context, to say that we will deny them millions of dollars in security funding unless they do what this body wants, I think is the height of irresponsibility. And frankly, I can't believe that I'm seeing it. I guess it's just of a piece with what we've seen from the majority leader, who said that, what was it? Schumer, he said Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, that you will reap the whirlwind. Well, I guess we're reaping the whirlwind now, that they're just on their own unless this judicial recalcitrance stops. I hope that we don't have to see another assassination attempt. I hope we don't have to have a justice actually killed before this body will take judicial security seriously and stop its attempts to coerce an independent branch of government. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.